flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If anyone has a cell phone, can you please turn them off or to vibrate, please? And may I have a statement of adequate notice?
In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as follows. On January 31st, 2013, notice was sent to the Home News Tribune, Star Ledger, Local Source, and the clerk of the municipality. By state law, there is no smoking permitted in this building at any time. In addition to the listed items in this agenda, this Board of Education may discuss and act upon other items not specifically referred to herein, as is allowed at the regularly scheduled monthly board meeting under the Sunshine Law.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Struzella?
Here.
Mr. Topolesky?
Here.
Mrs. Bebiano?
Present.
Mr. Frank?
Here.
Mrs. Hudak? Here. Mrs. Ormond? Here. Mr. Scalvino?
Here.
Mr. Colobus?
Here.
Mr. Russell?
Here. I have a motion to approve the minutes of the public hearing held on March 25th, 2013, the work session and the regular meeting for March 2013, and the special meeting held April 8th, 2013.
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Struzella?
Yes.
Mr. Topolesky?
Yes.
Mrs. Bebiano?
Yes.
Mr. Frank?
Yes.
Mrs. Hudak?
I abstain on the public hearing held on March the 25th, the work session also held on March the 25th, and vote yes on the regular meeting and the special meeting held April the 8th, 2013.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Mr. Scalvino?
Yes.
Mr. Colobus?
I abstained since I wasn't here.
Mr. Russell?
Yes. Are there any correspondences?
There is none, Mr. President.
Comments from the public on agenda items only? Seeing none, we'll move forward to Dr. Robertosi, your superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. This evening I want to give our monthly HIB report. Last month we had 5 incidents reported. 1 was validated as being an HIB incident. 2 were not, and 2 were undetermined. The consequence for the HIB incident was 5 days loss of recess, and the victim was counseled. I want to share some positive district news. Our Linden High School marching band was recently selected to represent the entire state of New Jersey in the 2014 National Memorial Day Parade in Washington, D.C. It's a tremendous honor and a well-deserved one by our marching band. Tonight we kick off our spring concert series. Our first spring concerts over at School 10 tonight. Tomorrow night we'll be at School 1, and Thursday we'll be at School 2. School 4 is on May 22nd. School 5 is on May 21st. School 6 is April 30th. School 8 is May 23rd. School 9 is May 1st. McManus is May 14th. Seoul Middle School is May 15th. And Linden High School has their dance concert on May 2nd, their band and choir concert on May 9th, and the Broadway Lights show on May 16th. All shows will begin at 7 p.m. We ask for support of the community to come out and support our students and their shows. This Thursday, April 25th, is Take Your Child to Work Day. I want to let all the parents know that if your child does attend work with you, it is an excused day's absence. Just need to send in a letter to your child's principal, and it will be an excused day. I also let the board know I won't be getting much work done this Thursday because I'll be bringing my 4 children to work with me. I'd like to give a sports update. Our spring sports, currently our baseball team is 3-8. They're ranked number 10 in the county. They're playing at Dayton in the first round of the Union County tournament this Sunday. On Saturday. And pitcher and outfielder Christopher Byer will be Linden's male representative at the Union County Scholar Athlete Dinner on May 8th. We'll recognize him at our May board meeting. Our girls softball team is currently 2-7, also ranked 10th in the county. Had a big victory against Elizabeth yesterday. And left fielder Michelle Fitzula will be Linden's female representative at the Union County Scholar Athlete Dinner on May 8th. Our track team, boys and girls, are 1-1 in dual meets. They're experiencing some success at the Saturday Invitational meets, and both teams qualified for the Penn Relays in Philadelphia this Thursday and Friday. Our boys tennis team is currently 1-3. We have a senior, Zachary Modrak, who will be Linden's representative at the NJSIAA Scholar Athlete Luncheon on May 18th. And we have several students here that I'd like to recognize tonight, followed by a wonderful show by students from School 6. So at this time, I'd like to ask the board members to step off the stage, have a seat, and we'll come down to see you. Mrs. Beviano, could you come up? Okay. Change of plans. We'll have the School 6 show first, and then we'll recognize the other students. School 6 students are here tonight, and they will be singing a song to celebrate Diversity Month, as well as Poetry Month. Welcome, School 6.
Welcome to our School 6 Diversity Program.
Bem-vindos ao programa de diversidade da Escola número 6.
Witamy w naszym programie różnorodności w szkole numer 6.
Good evening, Dr. Robert Tozy, Board of Education members, parents, teachers, and friends. This evening, we have a program which celebrates Diversity Month and School 6 diversity. We are unique and special in our cultures and heritage, but we are one family at School 6.
It's a small world.
the talking crayon box. While walking in the toy store the day before today, I overheard a crayon box with many things to say.
I don't like red, say yellow, and green, said nor do I. And no one here likes orange, but no one knows just why.
We are a box of crayons that doesn't get along, said blue to all the others. Something here is wrong.
Well, I bought that box of crayons and took it home with me and laid out all the colors so the crayons could all see.
They watched me as I colored with red and blue and green, and black and white and orange, and every color in between.
They watched as green became the grass and blue became the sky. The yellow sun was shining bright on white clouds drifting by.
Colors changing as they touched, becoming something new. They watched me as I colored. They watched till I was through.
And when I finally finished, I began to walk away, and as I did, the crayon box had something more to say.
I do like red, said yellow, and green said so do I, and blue you were terrific, so high up in the sky. We are a box of crayons, each one of us unique, but when we get together, the picture is complete.
Please, can we give another round of applause? I'd like to thank our School 6 family, to the parents, the faculty who all helped out. You did a wonderful job. This is our box of crayons. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Perkins and the School 6 staff and students for putting this show together. We can certainly all learn a lot from our students. You know, School 6 has a special place in my heart. It's where I was principal and, well, actually where the faculty taught me how to be a principal. It was a great, it was only a year, but it was a great year in my career and really, really a wonderful school. Thank you very much to our staff and students. We have a few other students and staff here tonight that I'd like to recognize. We have two students from our middle schools who were selected to be the Union County 8th grade dialogue representatives. These students were selected because they distinguish themselves in unique ways. They're models of good citizenship, and they possess a spirit that inspires others. These are qualities for sure that we would want in all of our children. So I'd like to recognize from McManus Middle School, Vanessa Arce. Vanessa, could you come up? Okay, maybe Vanessa's not here. From Seoul Middle School, Zachary Perkuski. Only one student from each middle school in Union County is selected, and Zachary was the representative. Zach, why don't you stand next to Mrs. Beviano? She has a certificate for you. And we'll take your picture. Congratulations, Zachary. Mrs. Hudak. Mrs. Hudak, could you come up? I also have another student that I'd like to recognize, a student from School 9, who was the first place winner in the 5th grade for the 2013 Young Writers of Union County Poetry Contest. So she was #1 in all of Union County among 5th graders. She impressed the judges with her depth and breadth of her writing. And in her poem, entitled, "It Is Not Just a Tree," which emphasized how important trees are and the vital role they play in our environment. So I'd like to call up and recognize from School 9, Diana Elise Garcia. Want to stand here, sir? Diana Elise, can you read your poem? I'm just kidding. Try to be funny. Congratulations, Diana Elise. We also have, of course, none of us would be here without our students, but we also have a great faculty here in Linden. And we have 8 teachers here tonight who I want to recognize. These teachers have truly gone above and beyond. They've completed a rigorous process to achieve an endorsement from Tools of the Mind. Tools of the Mind is our pre-K curriculum. And in order to achieve this endorsement, the teachers had to have successfully implemented the Tools of the Mind curriculum for 2 or more years. They had to videotape themselves and critique their own teaching. They had to demonstrate a thorough knowledge of learning theory on which Tools of the Mind is based. And they had to show a vast knowledge of the assessment techniques and the use of these assessments in their instruction. Only 10% of teachers are allowed to apply for this endorsement, but Tools of the Mind has designated Linden as a model district, and they allowed 8 of our teachers to apply and achieve this. So I'd like to recognize these teachers from school #1, Jill Zambell. Jill, you got to come up. From school #2, Lisa Zucker. Also from school 2 and our district master teacher, Janice Hoffer. Also from school 2, Nicole Zambell. From school #4, Tracy Merton. Also from school 4, Michelle Panich. From school 5, Fran Fagaro. And from school 6, Salvia Campuare. Also like to recognize the pre-kindergarten supervisor who's here with us tonight, Ms. Gail Fazio. Gail, would you come up for a picture? We're going to hand out your certificates, and you have to take a picture with your certificates. Okay? Thank you for going above and beyond. Yep. I'd like to ask the board members to come back on the stage. Mr. President, that concludes my report.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Robertosi. Is there a attorney's report?
Nothing at this time, Mr. President.
Thank you. We'll now go into our regular standing reports, curriculum instruction. Mrs. Biviano.
Thank you. The Curriculum and Instruction Committee, upon recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools and the Assistant Superintendent, present the following 44 items to the Linden Board of Education for approval. Items 1 through 13 deal with approval of education matters, including providing services to classified students, organizing placements, establishing tuition payments and adjustments, arranging for evaluations in home instruction, approval of the extended school year program and summer remedial reading program, and providing support services. Items 14 and 15 approve the payment schedule for extracurricular activities during the fall, winter, and spring seasons. 16 grants permission to begin fall athletic practice sessions. Items 17 through 20 deal with the enrollment of Linden High School in NJSIAA, the payment of dues and participation in football playoffs and wrestling team championships. Items 21 and 22 grant permission for summer weight training program and a summer conditioning program. Item 23 and 24 deal with modification of past agenda items. Item 25 accepts curriculum. Item 26 approves the 21st Century Community Learning Center extended after-school program. Item 27 approves training for district staff. Item 28 approves staff to conduct workshops. Item 29 deals with approval for various school activities and field trips. Item 30 grants permission for a staff member to conduct an administrative internship. Item 31 and 32 grant approval for research studies to be conducted by master's and doctoral candidates. Item 33 and 34 grant permission for an exchange program with a Linden High School student and a high school student from Italy. Item 35 grants the award of credits in Polish language course to 3 Linden High School students. Item 36 and 37 approve the district 12-month employee calendar and the summer hours for 12-month employees. Item 38 recognizes 2 Linden High School students as outstanding scholars. Item 39 and 40 authorize the conduct of IB exams and approval of the IB exam schedule. Item 41 grants permission for delayed start of school on May 21st and 22nd for the biology end of course assessment. Item 42 approves the Linden Public Schools Technology Plan. Item 43 approves the 2013-2014 school-based and district professional development plans. Item 44 approves the superintendent's determination and actions taken for all reported incidences of harassment, intimidation, and bullying discussed at the March 26th regular meeting as listed. Mr. President, I move curriculum and instruction items 1 through 44 and respectfully ask for a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Struzella?
Yes.
Mr. Topolescu?
Yes.
Mrs. Beviano?
Yes.
Mr. Frank?
Yes.
Mrs. Hudak?
Yes.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Mr. Scaldino?
Yes.
Mr. Colobus?
I abstain.
Mr. Russell?
Yes. Thank you, Mrs. Biviano. Management and Operations, Mrs. Hudak.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Management Operations Committee, upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, presents the following motions of the Linden Board of Education for approval. 1 and 2 are the passing of 2 retired employees, Helen Pancharak and Janet Foxman Horowitz. Dr. Robertosi?
Thank you, Mrs. Hudak. Helen Pancerek was a teacher in our district from 1966 through 1990. She taught kindergarten for most of her career before retiring in 1990. Janet Horowitz was a secretary in the guidance department in our district from 1975 through 1992. We extend our condolences to their family on the loss of their loved ones.
Thank you. Number 3 and number 33 are retirement of Ernest Rebello and Rosemarie Scamardello. Dr. Robertosi?
Mr. Rebello, most recently, was a special education teacher at McManus Middle School. I had the opportunity to work with him, though, at School 9, where he spent much of his career. Wonderful man, wonderful teacher, and certainly we wish him the best in his retirement. I also had the opportunity to work with Rosemarie Scamardello, a part-time aide at School Number 9. She's been with the district since 1998. A big help to our kids in pre-K and kindergarten. She will be missed.
Thank you. Number 4 is amendment of past board action. Number 5 is the resignation of staff. Number 6 is retroactively appointing Steve Viana as acting VP at Linden High School. Number 7 is the appointment of staff, as well as number 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 31, and 32. Number 8 and 34 are leave of absences. Number 9 is the transfer of staff. Number 19 is the retroactive approval of staff. Number 20 is reappointments. Number 21 is not offering employment contracts. Number 22 is the reappointment of the business administrator, board secretary. Number 23 is the reappointment of the assistant superintendent of schools. Number 24 is the reappointment of the 12-month administrators. Number 25 is the execution of the annual employment agreement for the 2013-2014 school year of the unclassified personnel. Number 26A are 10-month, and Part B is 12-month reappointment and award the employment contracts for non-tenured certificated teaching staff for the 2013-14 school year. Number 27 is the reappointment of secretarial staff for the 2013-14 school year. Number 28 is the reappointment of staff listed in 2013 and 14 per negotiated agreement. Number 29 is the appointment of the New Jersey ASK wrap-up for school number 2. And number 30 is the approval of job descriptions. Mr. President, I move items 1 through 34 and respectfully ask for a second.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. Item number 24, there's an error, I believe. The vice principal, Peter Fingerling, it says school number 1. It should be school number 2.
Mrs. Ormond, you're correct. That is an error. It should read School 2. We'll amend that on the agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? I had a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Struzella?
Yes.
Mr. Topolesky?
Yes.
Mrs. Bebiano?
Yes.
Mr. Frank?
Yes.
Mrs. Hudak?
Yes.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Mr. Scaldino?
Abstain on 25 and yes to the rest.
Mr. Colobus?
I abstain.
Mr. Russell?
Yes. Thank you, Mrs. Hudak. Support operations, Mr. Topolesky.
Thank you, Mr. President. Support Operations Committee, upon recommendation of Superintendent of Schools and the Business Administrator Board Secretary, presents the following 20 finance motions and 8 facilities motions to the Board of Education for approval. Items 1 through 6 are regular board business dealing with the acceptance of the Business Administrator Board Secretary certifications as of March 31st, 2013. Board Secretary's reports for the month of March 2013, financial reports, authorizations for payments of salaries and supplemental payroll for April 2013, and draw warrants in the amount specified in favor of persons named, and a list of transfers and adjustments for the month of March. Item 7 is a student activities report from Linden High School for the month of March 2013. Item 8 is a treasurer's report for the month of February 2013. Item 9 is to amend board action on past support operations in the finance report. Items 10 through 14 are to accept funds from the New Jersey Division of Education, Department of Education, Division of Early Childhood Education, in the amount of $2,686,684 for preschool programs for the 2013-14 school year. Funds reflecting telecommunication rebates made through the E-rate program for the period of July 1, 2012 through December 31st, 2012. Additional funding in the amount of $341 under Chapter 192 and $2,234 under Chapter 193 for the 2012-13 school year. Ohio File Prints, Inc., Ohio File, PA, representing a donation or royalty for apparel and accessories bearing the Linden School logo that were sold at local retailers, and $10 from Mrs. Hudak as a donation to the school for K-Kids. Items 15 through 18 and 20 are to approve a contract with Nickerson Corporation Union Beach to furnish and install lockers with pricing based on quotes received April 16th through the Middlesex Regional Ed Services Commission Cooperative Pricing System. A renewal of a lease with the Linden Elks Club for the period of September 1, 2013 through June 30th, 2014 in the amount of $1,000 per month for the use of parking lot during the hours of 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m., Monday through Friday. Superintendent and Business Administrative Board Secretaries to implement the 2013-14 budget pursuant to local and state policies and the following renewals for transportation for students for the 2013-14 school year. A is school transportation renewal contracts for regular and special ed. B is a parent transportation route for special ed student. C is field trip pricing for a 54-passenger school bus. And item 20 is parent transportation for a special ed student. And item 19, declare the following items listed as surplus equipment, obsolete or unusable, to be disposed of in accordance with District Policy 3260. Facilities, item 1 and 2 are to amend board actions taken at the August 29th, 2012 and February 26th, 2013 meeting to reflect date changes for the activities listed. Items 3 through 8 are the use of facilities at no charge is requested by various administrators, staff, and the Recreation Supervisor and Cultural and Heritage Committee for a variety of activities. Mr. President, if there are no questions or further discussions, I move items 1 through 20 of the Finance agenda and 1 through 8 of the Facilities agenda for approval and respectfully seek a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Struzella?
Yes.
Mr. Topolesky?
Yes.
Mrs. Bebiano?
Yes.
Mr. Frank?
Yes.
Mrs. Hudak?
Yes.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Mr. Scaldino?
Yes.
Mr. Colobus?
I abstain.
Mr. Russell?
Yes on all yes on all finance items, yes on all facility items except for number 3, the cosmetology and fashion show.
Ms. Hudak, I think it would be more appropriate for you to abstain from the gift that you're giving.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's number 14.
Okay. I abstain on number 14. I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Topolesky. Planning and Policy, Mrs. Ormond.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Planning and Policy Committee, upon recommendation of the Superintendent and Assistant Superintendent, present the following 2 motions to the Linden Board of Education for approval. We have for second reading 4 policies. Policy 1410, local units. It will replace the words Division of Youth and Family Services with Division of Child Protection and Permanency. Policy 5141.4, child abuse and neglect, will also replace Division of Youth and Family Services with Division of Child Protection and Permanency. Policy 5145.5, photographs and pupils, will replace the Division of Youth and Family Services with Division of Child Protection and Permanency, as well as Policy 5145.11, which is questioning and apprehension. For first reading, we have Policy 9100, reorganization meeting. It's a new policy which will call for 2 reorganization meetings annually instead of 1. The first policy will be ceremonial, which will be the installation of our officers, and the other one will be more or less used for awarding other contracts. Mr. President, I ask that we move policy and planning items 1 and 2, and I ask for a second, please.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Struzella?
Yes.
Mr. Topolesky?
Yes.
Mrs. Beviano?
Yes.
Mr. Frank?
Yes.
Mrs. Hudak?
Yes.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Mr. Scaldino?
Yes.
Mr. Colibus?
Abstain.
Mr. Russell?
Yes. Thank you, Mrs. Ormond. Reports of special committees and delegates. State Delegate, Mr. Topolesky.
Yes. Ms. Gaylord forwarded me the application for the attendance for the delegate assembly, which is May 18th. I registered, and so that's taken care of. I will have a report in the May meeting on that particular meeting. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Topolesky. County Delegate, Mrs. Beviano.
2 weeks ago, the county had a dinner where they honored 8th grade students throughout the county. 2 of our students who were honored here this evening were honored at that dinner, and that was Zachary Prikuski from Seoul and Vanessa Ars from McManus. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mrs. Beviano. Ed Services Commission, Mrs. Ormond.
Yes, just a brief report. The Union County Educational Services Commission held their monthly meeting on April 3rd. Just a traditional basic monthly meeting, but we were informed that the principal, the superintendent of the commission will be stepping down, retiring from the schools, but he'll be taking a position with Fairleigh Dickinson, helping and organizing placement and the program for special needs children on a collegiate level. So all members of the commission just took the time to wish him well and much success with his new endeavors. And that was it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Ormond. EST, Mrs. Beviano.
No report.
EST for students, Mr. Topolesky.
Yeah, well, due to a series of miscommunications, the student meeting has been postponed, and it will happen in early May.
Thank you. EST for special education, Mr. Topolesky.
Yeah, well, we had a meeting on Thursday, April 18th. The meeting was run by Miss Celia DePulver, special ed transition counselor. More than 15 parents showed up, and a number of staff was there and learned about post-high school services. The one thing we did figure out from the 2 meetings that we had this year was to do a better job informing the parents in a timely fashion, getting the word out sooner so that we can people can plan to be able to show up. The next meeting is planned for late September and early October, and we're planning on about 6 meetings next year and hope to have an entire schedule ready by early September. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Topolesky. Any unfinished business? Any board member comments or new business?
Yes.
Mrs. Ormond.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank Mrs. Perkins and the children of School 6 for that wonderful program. I've often said on numerous occasions that the only color that children see are in a box of crayons, and adults, we're the ones that ruin them and teach them that there's a difference in our skin color and make such a bad issue of it. And we need to embrace diversity, learn to love one another, because we are all created equal. So I just wanted to thank her for such a wonderful, wonderful program, and I would really love to see all of the schools get to see something like that. Also, I'd like to welcome Jack Thank you. I would also like to welcome Jack Colibus, our newest board member. And I would like to extend my congratulations to Mrs. Cleary and Mr. Robertosi on their first board meeting as our new superintendent and assistant superintendent of schools. Congratulations to both of you. And last but not least, to all the the students that were honored and acknowledged, congratulations. But a special congratulations to all the wonderful kindergarten teachers for their outstanding work with the tools of the mind. And I have to say that I did make note that half of you were either teachers from School 4 or are currently at School 4. And I have a special love for School 4 because that's where I went, and I know the direction of that school is just taking off, and they're just doing wonderful things there. So I wanted to especially congratulate all of you. Thank you. Oh, and one last thing. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I know I'm being a lot wordy. Last month, we all had to give back a snow day, a day because of Hurricane Sandy. But I want to especially thank our staff, because I found out that our staff came back to school, they sacrificed their vacations and their special day, and our staff turned out in record numbers. So thank you so much for caring about our children and sacrificing that particular day, because, I mean, I hate to say that you didn't have to, but you did, and it was definitely appreciated. Thank you so much.
Anyone else?
Mr. President, I would like to congratulate Mr. Colobus in joining us. He will make a great contribution to the Linden Board of Education with his experience and knowledge. I'm sure he will be a great asset because your experience will count in helping out the kids and running the school and bringing it up even higher than it is now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And anyone further? Mrs. Hudak?
I'm going to make my comments brief, but yeah, well, I'll try. I'll try. I had the privilege of going to School 4, I guess it was about 2 weeks ago on a Monday evening, and I was very impressed with the program. The majority of the staff had come back, they volunteered their time, and they showed the curriculum that they teach their children every day. They showed them how to do the math, the parents how to do the math. They taught them the reading program, the tools of the mind, how the kids would progress as they started in pre-K and they moved up to kindergarten and moved on to the first grade. I thought it was a great presentation. I would like to thank them for a wonderful evening because it was very impressive for this board member, because if my kids were there, I'd have a lot of learning to do too, because we learn differently than our children learn. And I thought it was wonderful how you explained to all the parents the different math, the different reading programs, and the way you reach out to the kids. And I thought it was a wonderful presentation. I also went to School 6 also for the New Jersey Ask evening, where I believe it was the 3rd and the 4th grade teachers were there presenting how they're preparing the kids for the test. So I would like to congratulate the School 6 family for their program that they had. And also on Sunday evening, we attended the ROTC ball. Mrs. Viviano, Mr. Russell, Dr. Robotosi, and Mrs. Robotosi. And I thought it was a wonderful presentation. It is one of the most spectacular presentations that our district has to offer. And to see our cadets all dressed up and so formal, it's a very moving evening. It's a very impressive evening, and a lot for this city to be proud of, and Linden High School to be proud of. So as a board member, I would like to thank them for a wonderful evening and to let them know that I'm very proud of those students. And I thank you.
I thought you were going to be brief.
Thank you. Any other board member comments?
Yeah, Mr. Russell, just
Kopleski?
briefly. I know it was last week or the week before we had the Language Honor Societies ran a dinner. Mrs. Hudak was there, Mrs. Orman was there, Dr. Robotosi and myself. Experienced wonderful different foods from all over. I don't know if anybody else was there. We were there. And it was great food and a great time.
Delicious.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
One more thing. I'll just
Really
make it
going
real
around
quick.
again?
There's a lot of good stuff going out throughout the district, and there are a lot of the end-of-the-year functions. You can go see them on the little marquees outside of each of the buildings. There's a lot of good stuff going on in this district, and I ask all of you to take the time to go take a look at all of our buildings and see our kids, because there's a lot to be proud of. Okay, I'm done.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. I get to go at the end here, and everything was basically said. But first off, I'd like to thank School 6 for coming out tonight and giving a wonderful show for everyone. I'd also like to welcome and congratulate our newly appointed board member, Mr. Jack Holibus. Thank you and welcome. For administration, I'd like to also welcome into her first meeting, and I think it was a good meeting, Ms. Denise Clary. Welcome to the stage. And I was going to use, but no. But I would like to welcome you and wish you good luck on your new position, and I know we'll move forward with you at the assistant's position. And to Dr. Robertozzi, your first meeting is one and done, and it's been a great month so far with you as well. So it's, again, district is moving forward, and I think everyone up here is very pleased with what we're seeing so far. So keep up the great work. Are there any comments from the public? Okay, then seeing none, may I have a motion for adjournment? As one, do I have a second?
Yes. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.
Motion.